Hey, welcome to Dollar Views. I'm Brian Gillis.
And I'm Stephen Montmanex.
We're just two Long Beach State film grads with a lifelong passion for cinema trying to put our money where our mouths are.
And we decided to make our BAs mean something by giving our 2 cents on the weekly film releases.
Whether it's the cute romantic comedy,
Or the latest cult classics,
from the little-known indies and docs,
to the latest Michael Bay masterpiece.
we go over it all, $1 at a time.
Telling me going back to her, she was scared and weak.
Take care of her for me, Kyle.
Come with me if you want to live. Now, soldier!
This is all wrong. John sent me here to save you.
From the Terminator that was sent back to kill me, I know, but we already took care of him.
We.
I've been waiting for you.
Dun 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 dun.
Terminator Genisys.
Dun 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 dun.
Genisys.
With a Y.
Genisys.
Genesis!
What the fuck was that?
Genesis!
That's Star Trek 3.
Yeah.
Genisys. Fucking Terminator Genisys.
What do you think about the movie?
You know, a disappointment. Look,
I'm with you, and
I like the script.
yeah,
There are good
it means
ideas
well.
in there. You know, it's comparable to the Star Trek reboot that J.J. Abrams did in that it creates a parallel timeline.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, they do some really cool stuff with there. There is a lot of stuff in here that should be awesome, right?
Yeah, but it isn't.
Yeah, the movie, it's
It's real droll.
it's very bland. It's very forgettable and just uninspired. Like, there's the opportunity for something really cool to be made here.
It could have been amazing.
And
they had a great setup.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm with James Cameron. I do agree that it is the best Terminator film since T2.
I think it's the worst Terminator film today.
The worst. You think
The
this
way-
is worse than
here's-
Salvation? Visually, it's worse than Salvation, but you think
Let me put it this way. The way that I look at Terminator is from first to last.
wait, you're one of the people that likes Terminator 1 more than T2.
That's
So,
my point.
see-
Is that starting from 1 all the way down to 5, that's the order
That you
in
rank
how
them?
good they are. They all get a little
No.
worse as they go along.
Well, I have to say that I have Arnold from T2. I have a figurine above my desk. He's holding the Tommy gun. It has like 6 buttons on the back. The batteries are dead. Like one of the buttons makes his eyes glow. One says like I'll be back. It's all it's awesome of you. So all the catchphrases. And I've had this since a kid. And I look at it like on a daily basis basically. I think Terminator 2 is one of the best action films of all time. I think it's near
Yeah.
perfection.
I can't disagree with that. This is where I'm coming from. Terminator 1, that was the first R-rated movie I ever saw, ever.
Oh.
I remember being in elementary school, I borrowed the VHS tape. I snuck downstairs late at like 1 o'clock at night.
Should have picked
I
something
watched
better.
the tape at very low volume, but, I watched it alone, and I was just fucking hooked in it. My freaking 10-year-old mind, or 8, I don't know how old I was just fucking amazed by it.
I think Terminator is one of those films where the score is almost better than the movie.
The whole movie's fucking great. Anyway, Terminator 2, I was a bit of a cynical asshole teen, and I just couldn't stand Eddie Furlong.
Yeah.
And, I've grown to appreciate a lot more since then, but I can't get over the fact that,
Yeah, he's a dickhole.
you're my Terminator, right? Stand on one foot. Like, are you fucking kidding?
It's funny. Shit's funny.
Nah, it annoys the shit out of me. Anyway, T3, I like it fine.
I liked the Terminator. I don't remember her name.
There is, the CGI definitely looks fake, but, compared to this, it's way better because at least they're trying to do something new with it, and it's a product of its time. But
No.
there's some pretty cool scenes in there.
T3 is disowned by like everyone.
It has
The ending
It
to
has
that
a great
film
ending.
is
though.
god awful. No.
Are you kidding? me?
The ending in the
yeah,
shelter.
the very
very,
ending.
very end.
The very
is,
end
yes,
is beautiful.
is great.
Like I
But-
can't help but
Yeah,
be affected by
yeah.
that.
The sacrifice.
The score for that
and
too.
then them in the
Yeah, it's
door.
amazing.
That was good. But the fact that there was never a follow-up means it's nothing. Like, if they had made T4 instead of Salvation, then who knows? Like, Nick Stahl, I thought he was a great John Connor.
Well, T4 was in that canon.
There isn't a T4, though. You're talking about
Salvation,
Salvation where
yeah, I'm
you
talking
jump
about
from
Salvation.
Edward Furlong to Nick Stahl to Christian Bale?
Yeah.
and now it's Clark Isaac.
That's how Hollywood casting works.
No, it's horrible.
People always get recast. It happens.
Yeah.
Anyway, Salvation.
We'll just skip over Salvation because it doesn't matter. That's not the movie on hands.
Well, I think it's going to be important when I talk about this movie later on.
When the director doesn't have a name, it's just 3 initials. That's already a problem. His name's McG.
Yeah, but you know what? Here's the thing about Salvation. It's not a good storyline, right? It's really hollow.
I remember very, very little about it.
The action in that movie, though, is fucking amazing. I haven't seen the movie since it came out, but I remember the action being thrilling, and I was disappointed by that movie, but...
I remember visually it was really cool.
Yeah, Terminator Salvation, still one of my favorite movie trailers of all time. With the Nine Inch Nails song in there, like, it's still an amazing trailer.
The Future, what was the song? Tomorrow.
The Day the Whole World Went Away.
There you go. It was one of those songs.
It's worth checking out that trailer again if you like watching trailers. There's a lot of beautifully... just visually arresting moments in that trailer.
I do remember...
that really got me pumped.
Yeah, I don't remember the trailer specifically, but I do remember seeing it and going, I gotta see this.
So the marketing for Terminator Salvation was incredible. Leading into the marketing for this movie...
which was god-awful.
What the fuck?
I mean...
they fucked it up. So I'm not going to spoil what they spoiled. I should because that's what Paramount wants you to know going in.
We can step around it.
I mean...
Even if... Okay, look. Even with it being spoiled, you see it happen so early in the film that I didn't really have a problem with it.
It's halfway through, and you know what? The setup for it is really good.
The setup is good.
I could have liked this movie better. It's possible that
if the trailer didn't fuck
it might
it up.
like. Let me put it this way: there's a moment that I consider pretty similar in Iron Man 3. I'm not going to spoil what it is. If the trailer for that movie revealed what that was, then I would not have enjoyed anything. Because in Iron Man 3, it was a shocking moment, and, your head kind of spins a little bit, and you're in disbelief at what's happening, but you're still glued to the screen, and you want to see how this is going to go down.
Yeah, whereas here, you already knew going in.
It's a similar moment, and, if we didn't know it, that would have been great.
It would have been great, but too bad they showed that scene in the trailer.
I mean, this is a case where marketing could have made the movie worse. I don't know if I'm judging the movie fairly here, but, other than that, and that's one of the more inspiring moments of the movie, too.
Yeah, that one scene, that reunion scene.
It is a nice moment, too. And
it was a nice moment, yeah.
And it's too bad that we know where it's going 5 seconds after that, but...
See, that's not the problem I had with the... I mean, that's a marketing problem. That's a studio fuck-up.
Yeah, I know, but I can't help but it affects the way I see the movie, though.
Yeah, but I didn't really like the film as it was anyway. Because, I thought some of the Terminator effects on the new model were cool, but there was a lot of recycling going on, and that's kind of the shtick, because, it begins with the same May 12th, 1984 placement from that Skynet uses, which was really cool.
And all the visual callbacks for the old Terminator, that was the best stuff in the movie.
Yeah, that was awesome. That first, 30 minutes or so.
Yeah.
The first act, especially, in the department store with Kyle Reese, with the cops, I was like, oh, man, this is, being transported back to the same movie.
Yeah, it looks a lot like it, yeah. And I just watched Terminator recently. It looks very close to it.
It did a Back to the Future 2 thing. It did it really well.
Yeah.
And then everything after that kind of just, I really didn't give a shit about. I didn't care about the action sequences, any of the setups. It wasn't funny.
It's very, this is Alan Taylor's second feature, right? But
what was his first?
His first was Thor 2.
Oh. So he's on a bad streak.
It had decent action scenes.
That was a bad movie.
It had decent action scenes, but I'm not convinced that the guy's an action director because he's also known for doing episodes of Mad Men and The Sopranos.
Yeah, you should probably stick to that.
Yeah, maybe his thing is more drama than just big budget spectacles, but the action scenes here, they're just so uninspired. There's a good script with cool ideas here, but all the action scenes, they're well constructed in the sense that they are action scenes, but they're not exciting at all. And on top of that, you got really lame CGI that is just there. It doesn't interact with the environments really well. It just feels like, we're just going to throw in CGI because we can do it. There's no boundaries being pushed. It's just there. Even, going back to Terminator Salvation, this is 6 years later, and that movie has incredible CGI.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it had a much bigger budget.
It doesn't matter. 6 years. The difference is 6 years. And I rewatched the trailer just for Terminator Salvation right after seeing this movie, and it really struck me how much better the effects were. These are the worst Terminator special effects ever.
I liked the stuff towards the end once it, without ruining anything, like once he shed his skin, okay, I liked some of those effects, especially the phasing that was going on. This was an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie that was trying to capitalize on the Terminator franchise. That's what it is. And I would say this is probably his best film since coming back. Even though I really did like, whatchamacallit,
The Last Stand.
Last Stand. Yeah, that was
awesome.
badass.
Yeah.
I really like Johnny Knoxville in that. I would say that's his
Dude,
probably.
that was a fun movie. Yeah.
That was probably his best movie, but this is his best role. Like he did it really well. He's playing the same character. He's supposed to be the same character, and that's why people.
No, he
are gonna
nails
see
it. Yeah.
Yeah, he nails
Yeah.
it. Yeah, you're going to see Arnold, and he's great as the character that the T-800. Or
Aside from Jason Clarke, he's probably got the best performance in the movie, but you know what that's going to be.
yeah, I thought Jai Courtney was okay too.
Nah,
You don't like him?
Jai Courtney, he's the same guy every time. He can look good in front of the camera, but every performance of his is one note. Like I can't tell the difference between.
He hasn't
this
really
character.
got something juicy like Live Free and not Live Free and Die Hard. What was the most recent one?
A Good Day to Die.
Good Day to Die Hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at the scripts
Well,
for
he's
both.
had lead roles, yeah. I mean, and then there's even, what was that young? Divergent.
Was he in that?
Yeah, he's the villain in that, or the villain's henchman.
Oh yeah.
But it always looks like the same guy to me. He hasn't. Okay, A Good Day to Die Hard was what, like 2 years ago, but
I think in Suicide Squad that's gonna change. Okay.
yeah, we'll see. He hasn't really had a breakout role
Yeah,
yet.
well,
but
like I said, he hasn't really got the script. Like this, like you said, this had some good script notes. There's some good plot devices here, but it's not a good story. It could have been. It could have been a great movie if they developed it better. If they didn't ruin it for the audience.
yeah, well, Paramount clearly didn't have any faith in the marketing whatsoever if they felt the need to spoil it.
But like it does some great stuff with just the franchise's timeline. And anyone that enjoys the franchise is gonna like it for some of the fan service.
The idea of doing sort of reboot prequel properties like this by introducing parallel timelines.
It's a
was
good
cool with
idea.
Star Trek.
Star Trek.
It was cool with Star Trek, but then at the same time, it's just another excuse to just keep shelling out properties and calling them new without offering anything
This
new.
is also a Paramount picture, so blame Paramount 2 times now.
Yeah,
So did you see this in 3D?
I did not.
Okay, good, because you didn't miss fucking anything. It wasn't a bad post conversion or anything. There were some interesting shots, but Terminator, the franchise, is one of the first examples of 4D. The Universal Studios attraction, which is sadly gone in Hollywood, but I do believe it still exists. Maybe in Orlando, for sure in Singapore. I mean, I didn't look this up myself, but if they have Back to the Future, I'm pretty sure that they have the Terminator still. That 3D, even though it was from like 1998, is amazing, or was amazing rather. I had that full immersive stuff. You had like the T-1000 liquefying and like wrapping around your head and doing really cool stuff. And then you got this fucking thing that doesn't do any gimmicks, no sight gags. It gets close. At one moment in the beginning when there's that T-1000 and his arms turn into stakes, I thought they were going to come out into the audience. They got close. It was like right on the edge of the screen, but nope. But I was going to say something about the 3D, but you didn't see it in 3D, so you didn't see the trailer.
No.
Paranormal Activity, whatever the new one's called, the Ghost Dimension or whatever.
Oh.
That trailer
was in 3D?
That trailer in 3D looked amazing. I want to see it.
Really?
Yeah, it adds like a whole new dimension, pun intended, to jump scares. Like the 3D in it looked really fucking good. So I was teased really hard by that trailer because I thought that that's what I was in store for. And yeah, I was sadly mistaken. You have to be doing something right for a trailer to scare me. I mean, I don't really do the horror films to begin with, but this was... I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to make a lot of money.
J.K. Simmons.
Yeah. He signed up for like 2 more pictures.
That's a cool idea for a character.
I liked him in this movie. Yeah.
Really? No, he did good, and that's a great idea for a character. What they do with him?
Yeah.
Does nothing.
Yeah. Well,
Ends
I
up
think
doing
it's
nothing.
set up for the next one.
I guess. I mean, I honestly really don't care about it.
I think he was
I don't
just
even
in
know
the
if it's going to do that well because it didn't
I
open
don't
that big.
I don't know. Well, the weekend didn't do well. Nothing on this weekend did well. I mean, it was just Inside Out Jurassic World again.
Yeah.
Like, coincidence. I mean, that's
I mean,
obviously
Magic Mike was made on a low budget. That'll make its money back.
it's definitely
This,
making its
I
money
don't know.
back.
We'll see.
It I think no, I don't know. Word of mouth,
Well,
it's not going to be that
domestically,
good.
I
think it's the
it could,
international picture.
Yeah, China, it could make a lot of money, and that could be enough to justify a sequel. But here, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't see this film having legs. I think it's gonna die really quickly. Just sad. Just with Arnold being back, they had just this great chance, and they definitely put some thought into it, and that's why he came back to do it. But yeah, they squandered that opportunity.
Even with the James Cameron seal of approval, I don't think it's going to do that well. My crowd wasn't really that into it. People were just kind of walking out quietly and just going, it was all right. It was whatever, which, yeah, it's not terrible, but then it just feels, I'm forgetting it right now. The only reason I'm remembering it is because I wrote down notes afterwards and I'm recalling what happened. But, I mean, yeah, it's just, it has really cool ideas in the script, but the direction's very bland. The performances are not very inspired. Except for Arnold and Jason Clarke, who does a great job.
He does do a pretty good job.
And J.K. Simmons, who, again, cool character. They don't really do anything with him.
I mean,
if they
that's
can take him
kind
somewhere
of
in
J.K.
sequels.
Simmons, though. I mean, outside of Whiplash, can you really think of a film where he is vital? He's usually just this guy on the side that has a couple of scenes here or there and steals a scene, perhaps, but he's just there. And he kind of continues that trend here. You
Yeah,
can see
he's
that
a character.
the Oscar didn't change anything.
He's a character actor. He does a good job. The movie does nothing with him.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't.
That's my problem with it.
Well,
Is that yeah.
When you have a blockbuster film, you're supposed to have a good amount of people in it, and this doesn't really have anyone
Then
in it.
they need to function somehow within the narrative. They need to do something.
Well, I don't know. It just
Yeah.
it's very bland.
Yeah, it's very forgettable. It just the action, the effects, they just feel tossed in there. It's I've been doing this a lot this summer, and to quote Jeff Goldblum, they were so busy with thinking of whether or not they
Really?
could do it, they never stopped to think of whether or not they should do it.
You need to stop quoting that. That's horrible.
Come on, it's true though. I mean, not just Jurassic World, but really, do we need this movie?
No.
No.
I mean,
not at all.
I would. I was excited as anyone to see Arnold as the machine again.
There's cool ideas in there, but I mean, in the end, it's very uninspired, and it just ends up feeling like Terminator fan fiction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would agree. In closing,
I could say the same
it's
thing
great
about
f-
Magic Mike too. That's what this whole weekend feels like to
Hey.
me. Narratively,
Hey.
even though you had fun with it, Magic Mike has no reason to exist. The second one.
In my opinion, if a film is fun, that's reason enough for it to exist. Because at the end of the day, the movies, it is escapism. It is fantasy.
Mhm.
And if that fantasy can help you with whatever, make you laugh, make you cry, whatever, if it can bring you to some kind of emotion, to some kind of peak, then it's worth your money. And sadly, this isn't.
You said that the title makes sense.
It does make sense, like, in terms of the plot,
Mhm.
and if you look at it outside of its stupid spelling, it is a beginning.
Genisys.
Please stop. It is a beginning for a new era of the Terminator, if that does indeed happen, which it probably won't. I'm fairly sure they're going to do exactly what they did with Salvation and 3 behind it, and either scrap this film and start anew, or hopefully just kill the franchise. That's what they should do. I would be fine with them ending it here. They already had the Sarah Connor Chronicles, which lasted like 4 seasons or something.
It's 2, I think, but there's a lot of people that really like that show.
That's because they're sucking on the teat of the Terminator.
I mean, I don't know if there really isn't anywhere else to go with this franchise. I mean, except for, seeing the war, which was what Salvation did. And
It didn't do it well.
there was a lot of cool stuff in there. I mean, it was after Skynet happened, and it was a bunch of skirmish fighting, and that should have been really cool. And there was great action in there. There just wasn't a story.
Terminator Salvation was
it's
episode
just-
2 Attack of the Clones. It was the Clone Wars that you wanted to see. It just didn't live up to your expectations that the franchise built upon it.
Yeah, I mean, it's for the sequels, starting with 3. there's always something really cool in there that they could do to make it work, but there's always something else working against it. And so, most of me feels like, they've kind of just done everything with this franchise that they could do. But then there's another part of me that's like, well, they prove that they can do it. There's another element
they
that's
just have
not
to go
working.
back to fun. Like, the reason I liked T2 and most people do is that it's a fun film. Like, the first is so dark and dense and tense, kind of like Alien.
Yeah.
And then you have this sequel that just opens it up. James Cameron did this thing, opens it up to this accessible, fun, like adrenaline-filled adventure. And after T2, it just, let's just recycle something. We'll add a new Terminator. They got to find out how to kill that one. And that's the same story here. They've hit a dead end. Where do you go next? Like, you can only make so many robots and kill them. Like, you're going to be recycling the story.
I'm sorry, I can't help myself.
You should help yourself. It's like, really, if I think that's annoying, our viewers are going to hate it. The problem is the first film, the first Terminator, because there was so little on the page, you could expand it. And so Terminator 2 expanded it. And then they tried to take a next step. With time travel, you can't get deep and keep the audience interested. You can only go so far without alienating who's in the crowd. Because even this one, I followed it pretty well. Because like I said, it's Back to the Future 2. It has pretty similar story dynamic. But I've encountered people that don't understand Terminator, don't understand Back to the Future 2. Like, it is some deep science, some, psychological, some theoretical stuff going on in the background. And so if they continue on that path like they did here, that's just going to make it even worse. My bottom line here is, if you're really bored and you really like the franchise, and you just want to see it so you can talk about it, then sure. And you're not going to be blown away, but it's a good... For 2 hours, you could definitely do a lot worse.
Genisys.
All right, I'm done with that clip. No.
Well, we're done with the review. We got nowhere to go.
Yep.
Well, thanks for listening, guys. I hope it's been a pleasure. If you enjoyed it, you can find updates and when episodes go live on Facebook and Twitter at Dollar Reviews. You can follow me personally on Twitter at Brian Gillis, that's BryonGillis, and also under the same name on the lovely site Letterboxd, which acts as my film diary, where I rate the films I watch on an almost daily basis, write the occasional review, and even sometimes compile lists.
You can also find me on Twitter at S_MTX, and also follow my film diary at letterboxd.com. My username is also S_MTX. There I log everything I watch and sometimes write brief reviews.
If you loved what we said, you'd like to contribute some talking points, or you just want to laugh at us and send us hate mail, you can do so at dollar.review@gmail.com.
And since we don't know where you're listening from, you can find our recent reviews on iTunes by searching Dollar Reviews. We're also on SoundCloud at soundcloud.com/dollarreviews. And if you're sad that you missed a review and you can't find it on either of those platforms, you can find our entire archive at youtube.com/dollarreview. Once again, that's Dollar Review, one word without the S.
Until next time, keep the change.